is perhaps no better litmus test in discerning amateur from pro guitar players than vibrato and bending. Good vibrato and bending allow the simplest of musical ideas to shine, whereas bad vibrato and bending will ruin just about anything. Today we're going to revisit the fundamentals of these techniques and explore how to take them further to ensure every bend lands perfectly. Let's begin with intonation. When bending a string, intonation refers to the accuracy with which we hit our target pitch. In my opinion, this is 50% ear training and 50% muscle memory. Hence why it can take a moment to recalibrate our bending when swapping between guitars with different string gauges or different scale lengths. By fretting our target note, then bending up to this from a scale tone below, we can calibrate our ears to the target pitch. You should practice doing this with all bendable intervals, a semitone, a tone and a half, 2 tones, perhaps even beyond. I would also recommend practicing this within a musical context. Choose a tonic, in this case D, choose a mode, in this case Dorian, choose a string, in this case the B string, and begin by bending between adjacent scale tones, for example, from the root up to a major second, or from a major second up to a minor third. When you feel confident with this, you can begin skipping intervals. I would also recommend using a simple drone backing track to help calibrate your ears. You can begin by bending up to your target pitch slowly at first, then fast, then eventually as a pre-bend. The latter is how we start to develop muscle memory. You should also do this exercise in position. Pentatonic scales are particularly challenging in this respect because they comprise exclusively of tone and tone and a half intervals. Play every available bend within the scale and eventually in every position on the neck. Now, a word on vibrato. Rate and width are our distinguishing parameters here. The most common mistakes I hear amateur guitar players make are not maintaining a consistent rate, not maintaining a consistent width, or pulling the string sharp and therefore not returning to the unbent pitch with each cycle. To practice your vibrato, choose a note, ensure the wrist of your fretting hand is relaxed, and practice modulating the rate of your vibrato with a metronome, beginning with eighth notes, then moving on to eighth note triplets, and so on and so forth. Maintain a consistent width, whether this is wide or narrow, or even pitched to a specific interval, such as a semitone, or if you're going for the 80s Lukather thing, a tone. And finally, ensure the string is returning to its unbent pitch with each cycle of the movement. Beyond this, the simple, most effective way I know to practice vibrato is to imitate the players you look up to. Each has their own voice that you can replicate by matching the rate and width of their vibrato. Try to find isolated passages within records where a note is being sustained for a beat or two and lock in with the rate and width of that player's vibrato. Now that we've revisited the fundamentals, let's explore the concepts I was implementing in the opening performance. The first is chord tone targeting. To demonstrate this, let's look at the first chord of the progression, B. In this example, B is functioning as a 5 chord and is therefore implying B mixolydian. B contains the notes B, D sharp, and F sharp. To target each note effectively, we must consider which scale tone resides below it. B is our root note, and the scale tone below that is A, the minor seventh. D sharp is our major third, and the scale tone below that is C sharp, the major second. F sharp is our perfect fifth, and the scale tone below that is E, the perfect fourth. This establishes both our target pitch, but also the interval we need to bend from. Try bending between these three target pitches on one string. For Gilmore style bends, try approaching from two scale tones below, for example, bending up to the root from the major sixth. Where this concept shines is when we roll it out to the other chords within the progression. I'll demonstrate this now by moving between B major and G major. This is a non-diatonic progression, which necessitates properly outlining the chord changes. When you bookend this approach with improvised phrases and other vocabulary, it can be very effective. From the 1970s to the 1990s, Los Angeles saw the rise and fall of the golden age of session musicians. From Larry Carlton and Jay Graydon to Steve Lukather and Michael Landau to Dan Huff and Paul Jackson Jr., this era birthed some of the most prolific session musicians ever to have lived and produced some of the best-selling records of all time. Despite their unparalleled influence on popular music, these names remain unknown to all but a select few. So, if you've spent countless hours trawling album credits or trying to recreate the perfect tri-stereo chorus patch, this Patreon is for you. Welcome to Session Heroes Los Angeles. Here we deep dive into the playing styles of LA's greatest session guitarists. From breaking apart essential techniques and playing concepts to recreating period correct tones or uncovering hidden gems from the discographies of our session heroes, this is the place for you. The Session Heroes Patreon is broken down into 4 tiers. Tier 1, Valley Cap, gives you access to top draw licks. These are short phrases for you to integrate into your own playing. PDF and Guitar Pro files are provided, allowing you to slow down the MIDI playback and nail each lick. Tier 2, Studio Legend, is my most popular tier. This gives you access not only to top draw licks, but also to the transcriptions I create for my YouTube videos. I've created player collections so you can easily navigate to all of the Steve Lukather or Dan Huff solos I've transcribed. These are provided in standard notation and tablature. In addition to this, you'll also receive access to the close-up and slowed down playthroughs of my top draw licks. Tier 3, Session Hero. This gives you access to all the aforementioned benefits with the addition of the backing tracks I create for YouTube. In the last few years, I've forgone playing along with the original records and instead recreate the tracks from scratch. These can now be yours to play along with. Tier 4, Studio Elite. This tier gives you access to all the aforementioned benefits, but with the addition of the ad-free extended versions of my YouTube videos. This means you'll get extra licks, secret techniques, and longer interviews. Being hosted on Vimeo, the video quality is also wonderful, and adverts such as this one are removed. All patrons will also be the only ones who receive discounts at the Session Heroes store. So, join the cult and come along for the ride. The second concept we're exploring today is voice leading. If we break apart the first 2 chords from the progression, we can see numerous potential pathways through it. For best results, we would of course roll this out to the whole progression. So if you've ever wondered how players like Mike Landau improvise solos on literally thousands of records and nailed it every time, an internalized understanding of these concepts is partially responsible. There is an extended ad-free version of this video which features 3 bending techniques inspired by Sean Tubbs, Steve Lukather, and Michael Landau. Patreon members on the Studio Elite tier can access this as part of their membership, or you can download it as a one-time purchase. To practice this, I'd recommend taking existing repertoire, analyzing the chord progressions. Remember that with diatonic progressions, you can do this by seeking out the unique relationships within the key. For example, if you find 2 minor triads a tone apart, there is a strong possibility they're functioning as the 2 and 3 chord within the parent key. Similarly, if you find 2 major triads separated by a tone, there is a strong possibility they're functioning as the 4 and 5 chord within the parent key. Things become a little trickier when we get into non-diatonic harmony, so this is a topic that I'll address in a future video. This concludes our lesson on better bends. I hope that you found some value in it. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time.